They once worked together a long time ago. They're not friends now. They don't like each other. And yeah, 50 has taken every shot, especially when Diddy has been down.
I'm Eva Pilgrim. Thanks for streaming with us. Incredibly graphic testimony today in the Sean Diddy Combs trial. And we have to warn you, some of what you hear.
It seems he's done it once more, and the spectacle this time borders on the unbelievable. For most people staring down years in prison, the focus would be on reflection, maybe even repentance. But not him. Instead, he's grabbing headlines with something completely unexpected: planning the guest list for his post-prison party. Yes, you read that correctly. Still locked up, still waiting on a final sentence, he's already choreographing the celebration to come. The audacity is hard to wrap your head around. This isn't just a party, it's a statement. A show of force. A reminder that, in his world, the velvet rope's still open, the champagne still flows, and every invite carries the weight of power and status. But for those harmed by his actions, this lands like a cruel insult. What feels like a victory lap to him looks, to the victims, like a glittering celebration built on their pain.
One of the allegations was that Diddy had the Philadelphia rapper who dated Nicki Minaj. Immediately, people identified the rapper as Meek Mill.
The outrage isn't simmering quietly, it's erupting, because this isn't some backroom rumor. He isn't even pretending to keep a low profile. Instead, he's sending a loud, unmistakable signal. His reach doesn't end at the prison gates or the judge's bench. It stretches straight into the circles of wealth, power, and celebrity. It's a power play, pure and simple. A dare to the public and the justice system alike. Try to stop me if you can. And so the question lingers in the air, sharp and unsettling. How does a man convicted of transporting people for what prosecutors called freak-offs leave prison not with his reputation in shambles, but with plans for a glittering celebration? For the victims, the answer feels obvious. To them, this isn't just arrogance, it's proof the trial was compromised from the start. They whisper about money changing hands, about influence seeping into the cracks of the process. Some even suspect witnesses were pressured, jurors swayed by more than the standard sandwiches and coffee in the deliberation room. Which leaves us all wondering, was justice ever truly blind in this case? Or were the scales weighted by stacks of cash too heavy to overlook? After all, prosecutors marched in with more than 30 witnesses, and still failed to secure the most serious convictions. Was it because the evidence faltered? Or because power was quietly at work behind closed doors?
Essentially said that Sean Combs led a criminal enterprise for his desires, that he tried to cover up crimes, that he was the leader of this criminal enterprise, and that he committed at least two, that they believe, of these elements that are part of the rap.
Even prosecutors hinted at what many already believed: the case against him wasn't weak. They argued the evidence was overwhelming, laying out how Diddy wasn't some bystander swept along by circumstance, but the architect of his infamous freak-offs. In their telling, he designed every detail, gave the commands, transported people across state lines, and indulged for his own gratification. The filings from the government pulled no punches, damning words, meant to leave no doubt. And yet, when the verdict came down, the jury carved him out of the most serious charges. The result was a split decision that fractured public opinion. To some, it looked like a razor-thin legal win for the defense. To others, it confirmed what they'd feared all along, that celebrity clout can bend a courtroom into a stage set for spectacle. That sense only deepened when, instead of lying low, he began mapping out a celebration, while victims claimed their voices were muffled by hush money. Rumors soon spread beyond bribed jurors. Whispers grew louder, that the reach of his money and influence climbed higher, stretching into the realm of political allies who could soften his fall. The speculation took on sharper edges when Donald Trump's name entered the conversation. His camp, sources say, had already opened lines of contact with the former president, a man known for treating pardons like bargaining chips. Trump played coy, calling Diddy half innocent, while admitting a pardon would be complicated by old grievances. But the fact that a possible pardon even surfaced at the presidential level spoke volumes. T suggested this wasn't the story of a fallen mogul at all. This was a man still operating in rarefied air, where power is traded in quiet conversations and favors banked at past parties can be cashed in when the walls start closing in. To his critics, it feels less like justice served and more like an intermission, an act break before the spotlight swings back in his direction.
Man, you doing it, man. You deserve it, Daddy. You putting in that work. Proud of you. I love you.
And so we circle back to that guest list. the shimmering document that could reveal more than any court transcript ever did. Who will dare put their name on it? Which celebrities, politicians, and business giants are willing to align themselves with Diddy under the world's gaze? Showing up won't just be about loyalty. It will be a statement, an unspoken choice to dismiss the victims' voices, or to prove they never mattered in the first place. Every name on that list becomes a breadcrumb, every RSVP a revelation. Will the lineup feature chart-topping icons and red carpet regulars, clinking glasses as though scandal were just background noise? Or will it be a shadowy guest list, filled with those elusive power brokers who rarely step into the spotlight but always seem to surface when influence is on the line? One truth feels undeniable: anyone who walks through those doors won't just be celebrating Diddy. They'll be revealing something about themselves, their loyalties, their values, and the secrets they'd rather keep hidden. And as that list begins to circulate, the glare of the spotlight may no longer fall solely on Diddy, but on the vast, intertwined network of power that props him up.
To me as Wild King Nights. And what a Wild King Night was when him and a guest would go to a hotel room or be at his home, his bedroom, and they would have intimate gatherings. I would have to go and prep that hotel room, which consisted of baby oil ash.
The closer we look, the more unsettling the story becomes. At the core of the charges sit the notorious freak-off gatherings, events that weren't casual nights of indulgence but sprawling productions, stretched over days and fueled by excess, power, and control. Witnesses painted disturbing scenes, people flown across state lines and even overseas, checked into five-star hotels, and drawn into marathon sessions where the boundaries between performance and captivity blurred. According to prosecutors, these weren't parties at all. They were orchestrated spectacles, where domination and humiliation served as the real form of currency. The question lingers: how many lives were permanently altered by nights designed solely for Diddy's amusement? Prosecutors argued he was the architect of every detail. Flights booked by travel agents, handlers ushering people into luxury suites, stockpiles of drugs and paraphernalia prepared like props for a music video. Only these productions had no cameras, just exhaustion and exploitation. Cassie testified that these gatherings became her full-time reality, stretching on until her body gave out. Another woman, identified only as Jane, confirmed the same pattern: endless, punishing routines that turned excess into a system. It wasn't random hedonism. It was structured, rehearsed, a machine of pleasure running on other people's pain. Even though the jury stripped away the heaviest charges, the testimony left a stain too dark to dismiss. These freak-offs weren't side notes to his fame. They were the hidden engine powering it all, the unspoken rhythm behind the music and the myth of Diddy's empire.
He got back to New York City when D. Williams was in Philly at a new station.
The picture grows even more complicated when Cassie steps into focus. Once an R&B starlet, she has become both a symbol of bravery and, to some, a figure of suspicion. It was Cassie who first launched the lawsuit that rattled the music industry, only to settle within 24 hours for an undisclosed sum. Was that settlement an act of silencing, or simply a way for her to close the chapter? The speed and secrecy of the deal still raise uneasy questions. Her later testimony only added to the murkiness. Some insiders whisper that Cassie may have played a deeper role in organizing the freak-offs than she admitted. She was often the one handling logistics, booking flights, coordinating with handlers, making the arrangements. Was she coerced into these responsibilities, or was she caught in a double role, at once participant and gatekeeper? The truth may lie somewhere in between, but it remains frustratingly unresolved. That lightning-fast settlement complicates everything further. Victim advocates say it shows Diddy's talent for neutralizing threats before they go public. Critics of Cassie suggest it was a deal that protected her while leaving others vulnerable. Either way, when she eventually took the stand, her testimony carried enormous weight. Her descriptions of violence, intimidation, and years of psychological manipulation were shattering, but the shadow of that undisclosed payout still lingers. Was she delivering justice, or protecting herself from sharing his fate? And yet, regardless of Cassie's motives, the culture of the freak-offs continues to hang over this scandal like smoke that won't clear. These weren't one-off indulgences. According to prosecutors, they stretched across cities and continents: New York, Miami, Los Angeles, Atlanta, Las Vegas, Ibiza, Turks and Caicos, an empire of excess disguised as entertainment. The chilling part isn't just the lurid details, but the scale of infrastructure behind it all. Such an operation couldn't exist without layers of silence and complicity. Former employees, industry insiders, even fellow artists have whispered the same refrain. Everyone knew something, but few dared to speak. When one man holds that much power, what real choice do they have? And this is why the guest list matters. Those names won't just reveal who still sees Diddy as untouchable, they'll expose who is willing to raise a glass to him despite everything, and in doing so, tell us volumes about where their loyalties truly lie. The guest list doesn't just hint at who will celebrate, it points to who might have looked the other way, who may have profited, and who still has secrets worth guarding. If Cassie stands as the visible center of the storm, then countless others remain in the wings, hoping the spotlight never turns their way. Every RSVP drips with implication. Do they believe he's innocent? Do they simply not care? Or do they fear that stepping back could draw unwanted attention to their own ties to the machine? This is why the list matters. It's not gossip, it's a map of power. Once, Diddy's parties were legendary, crowded with rappers at the top of the charts and Oscar winners eager to bask in his orbit. But now, under the weight of accusations and the glare of global scrutiny, attendance isn't casual. It's a declaration. Each name that appears doesn't just show up, they take a side in history, whether they intend to or not. Already, whispers swirl around who might dare cross that velvet rope. Kanye West's name has surfaced, his complicated history with Diddy, marked by collaborations, public shows of support, and occasional ego clashes, making him a particularly loaded possibility. If he appears, some will see it as solidarity between two embattled men who feel misunderstood by the system. But the cost could be steep. For an artist already defined by controversy, would such a move mark his ultimate rebellion, or the point of no return? Then there's Kid Cudi, whose presence carries a different weight. Once a younger star finding his footing under Diddy's shadow, his name surfaced in trial testimony connected to Cassie's story. For him, attendance wouldn't just be a matter of loyalty, it could reopen wounds the public hasn't forgotten, pulling him into a narrative he may never escape. One thing is certain, each celebrity who dares to step inside won't just be raising a glass. They'll be raising questions about what they stand for, what they've seen, and what they're still willing to ignore.
Rapper, but I think sometimes Meek falls a victim to, I have to explain myself because they be playing with my name.
Yeah.
And the more he responds.
In Hollywood, personal relationships are never fully private, and for Kid Cudi, the stakes are especially sharp. If he were to appear at Diddy's party, it would reignite every rumor from the past and suggest he's willing to overlook the disturbing testimony now dominating the headlines. Staying silent may seem safer, but silence, too, leaves its own trail of questions. Is he quietly breaking away, or is that silence masking a deeper loyalty? And Cudi is hardly the only one caught in the bind. The dilemma stretches across the entire entertainment world, to the megastars who built careers beside Diddy, who once relied on his label, his connections, his sponsorships. For them, pulling away now risks accusations of hypocrisy, enjoying his wealth and influence when it suited them, only to abandon him when scandal hit. But showing up, that risks being branded complicit, choosing loyalty over morality. It's a no-win scenario, one that strips away Hollywood's glossy veneer and exposes the self-preservation beating beneath it. Every leaked video, every victim's testimony makes it harder to believe that Diddy's peers knew nothing. Which forces the question, how many saw enough to speak up and chose not to? In that silence, complicity takes root. And a single appearance at his celebration could be interpreted as confirmation that, for some, allegiance mattered more than justice. For stars who've spent years cultivating brands around empowerment, activism, and social change, the contradiction would be impossible to miss. This is why the guest list matters so much. It isn't just gossip, it's a moral reckoning. Cameras will catch every arrival, every embrace, every toast. And for Hollywood's elite, the moment is a crossroads. Distance themselves and risk losing powerful alliances, or stand publicly with a man whose reputation has turned radioactive. Either way, the fallout will be brutal. And in the end, it won't just reveal Diddy's choices, it will expose the industry's own line between loyalty and accountability. And then there's the political dimension, the whispers of backroom deals, the dangling possibility of a presidential pardon, the suggestion that Diddy's reach extended all the way into the Oval Office. Imagine the optics. If he walks free and steps onto a red carpet flanked by celebrities and politicians, what message does that send to the victims still waiting for justice? What does it say about accountability in a system where fame often speaks louder than evidence? The fear is that such a spectacle wouldn't look like redemption at all, but a victory lap for impunity. The entertainment industry itself is already rattling under the weight of the scandal. Because this isn't just about one man, it's about the machinery that has shielded stars for decades. If Diddy can be accused of intimidation, manipulation, and exploitation on such a scale and still emerge ready to celebrate with the elite, what chance does the next victim have of being heard? So we're left with a haunting question. Are we witnessing the start of a reckoning, or the end of accountability altogether? The guest list, Cassie's ambiguous role, the rumors of political protection, all of it funnels into one terrifying conclusion. Has Diddy's survival proven that the powerful can, in fact, do whatever they want without consequence? As the glittering doors prepare to open and the cameras ready to flash, the stakes crystallize. Who will stand beside him? Who will step away? And who might be dragged into the light against their will? Will this party be remembered as a comeback for a man who defied the system, or as the moment that finally revealed just how deep the rot runs through music, politics, and celebrity culture? The world will be watching every move. Until then, stay sharp, stay loud, and don't look away.